Okay, here we go. Talking about FC Dallas this time. A lot of people are hyped on FC Dallas. I think I understand why. Their starting schedule is a pretty good one. I think they have more double game weeks in the beginning of the season than most teams. All right, so we're just going to jump right in. Back to the goalie, Gonzalez. Apparently, a lot of people are excited about him. He's a $6 million defender, which is the most you can pay for a goalie, but from the sound of it, I've been reading some things, and if you don't have him, apparently you're doing it wrong, which means I'm also doing it wrong. But that's okay. There's not much more to say about it. He's a good goalie. If you want him, take him. Last year they had a whole bunch of different goalies in the mix. They had Sykes, they had Dan Kennedy. They were trying for a while to figure out who the best option would be. And this year, Gonzalez is the guy. He won the spot. He will be starting. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt. Sykes is a good backup, but again, Gonzalez, the guy to have in FC Dallas. We're just going to move right up the field onto Matt Hedges. We had a fantastic season last year. One of the top scoring defenders in the league. $9 million. Expensive. It is very expensive for a defender, but it's still a good option. If you're only splurging on one super expensive defender, he's a good way to go. Hedges is obviously a goal-scoring threat. He's a tall guy, he's a big guy, knows how to get his head on the ball and get the goal. So $9 million, pretty expensive. Now last year, Zach Lloyd, I'm kind of jumping out of order here, but Zach Lloyd was the other center back for most of the season, and he did a pretty good job. This previous season, he played out on the wing, or out on the outside defender position, and this year he looks to be doing the same thing. Again, we're going off the information we have from goal.com, and from what I understand, this is pretty correct. So he'll probably get pushed out, and yeah, he does well out there. He's done it before, but he is $7.5 million. I think his points are going to be down compared to last year, only because he's going to be outside now. He's not going to be getting as many of the bonuses, the clearances, things like that, now that he's out wide, and he'll be getting up in the attack. So be cautious with that. Just know exactly why his points are as high as they are last year. Moving on, we're going to talk about the other center back that should be the guy this year, Figueroa. He's $7 million. Played a little bit with him last year. I don't know exactly what he did to kind of earn his spot. Actually, he might not have played with them last year. He might have been on a different team. Not completely sure, actually. Sorry, should have looked that up ahead of time, but I didn't. Oh well. So yeah, it looks like he'll have the other spot. So risky option to me. New with the team. Again, I'm not 100% sure that he will be the guy that's starting there. It looks, by the price of the other guys, it's more than likely him. He's $7 million. He's at least $1 million more than all the other defenders, aside from Hedges and Lloyd. So it makes sense that he would probably have the spot. And then the guy they have on the right side is Harris. I believe he played for them most of the year last year. Tiba Harris, $6 million, relatively cheap defender. Again, on the wing. His points might not be as high as you'd like from a defender because he's on the outside and he, won't get the clearances, might get a decent amount of interceptions, some attacking bonuses every once in a while, but probably won't be as often as you like. And you want consistency. And in my opinion, consistency is probably the best thing you can get from your fantasy players. So, yeah, Harris, $6 million, not bad, but I think you can do better, honestly. If you put a little more money into your defenders, I think it's worth it this year. Okay, moving on up the field, you have Ulloa. I'm not sure how to say his name. I'm not Spanish. $7.5 million. I'm sorry. Actually, for a defensive midfielder, had pretty good season last year. Almost scored 130, and I'm sure that would have been more if you apply the new point changes to his score. So. $7.5 million, not bad for a defensive man. I think he might be worth it. But, well, okay, we'll just move on for now. The other guy they have beside him or back a little bit with him is a new guy, named Carlos Gruezo. Gruezo. He's $8 million. Don't know anything about him. He wasn't in the league last year. It's really hard to know how he'll do. I always try to say and stay away from new people to the league because, again, like I say, it's a different league than most of the other leagues in the world. It's a little more physical. So just be cautious. If you know about him and you've followed his career before it got to here and you're high on him, you might be the only guy that benefits from the points that he gets. So if you think it's worth it, go for it. I'm not advising you not to. I just don't know enough to tell you, honestly. So moving up the field, our main man, Diaz. Oh, man. What can you say about Diaz? Young guy, fantastic, though. Last year he got hurt, I think pretty early in the season, but still managed to score like 150 points. Puppy's really chewing on that tissue still. So yeah, Diaz, he's on my team. $10 million, I think, is a pretty good deal for him. Free kick taker, amazing free kicks, corners probably. So I strongly recommend having him on your team. Diaz is a good option because FC Dallas has a pretty high-powered offense. Castillo is so fast, and we'll get to him. But there's a lot of good stuff going on in FC Dallas, especially in the front and the back. Honestly, they're a good team, so look out. Diaz, recommend him. We'll go out to Barrios first. He had a decent year last year. He's $8 million. Again, he looks like, according to this list, he'll be kind of playing more of a wing role, and I'm not a huge fan of wings. I mean, I like eating them, but as far as soccer positions go, not my favorite. You know, when I look at these lists, it kind of shows a rough outline of the field, and you know, it shows you a person playing out on the wing, but that doesn't always necessarily mean that's where they're going to be limited to. A lot of times, you know, players will cross over and, hi puppy, do you want up here? No, too bad. I'm making a video. Get over it. So he might not be limited to just the wing, but we're going to go on to the guy that most people are going to have from FC Dallas, Castillo. I mean, he is just a flashy player. He's so fun to watch. It's too bad you don't get points for like juking out 5 guys and then taking it and scoring a goal yourself, because he'd benefit the most, I think, out of anybody in the league. He just has a way of just, he's just so good. What can you say? He's so good. $10.5 million, a little bit more than Diaz. Probably will score more goals than Diaz, just because he's just so good. His instincts are good. You know, if the defense he's playing against plays a bad pass back, he will be there in a heartbeat and punish. So Castillo, very good option, definitely. And moving on to the last guy, or well, we'll talk about a couple guys maybe. For their forward, their target forward, right now it looks like Urruti, who was on Portland last year, is leading the way. $8.5 million. He did pretty decent with Portland last year, but they were kind of figuring out between Fernandez and Adi who was going to be the starter, and they had a lot of good options. I think that he kind of lost his spot just because Adi is such a big dude. Rudy's a little on the smaller side, but so is Castillo, and nobody could stop him. So I think Rudy, he has like a quick mind, like as far as quick plays and stuff like that, and I think that'll gel really well with Castillo and Diaz. I think he'll be a pretty decent option. $8.5 million. It's relatively cheap for a starting forward, and I think he'll get a good shot at things. The other guy that a lot of people would talk about probably is Akindelli. When he was in last year, he was great. I know I had him on my team. I think I made him a captain once that he scored like 2 goals, and it was like, oh, this guy's awesome. But it looks like for now he will maybe be a super sub, playing the bench a little bit. We'll see what happens as the season progresses. But for now, Urruti, I think, is the guy you want. So that's FC Dallas in a nutshell. We'll go quickly with my top 3. Personally, Diaz comes first. I love him. I think he's awesome. The year where he was completely healthy, he was just a complete stud. And I think that's why his price is still what it is, even despite last year not having the best year. Diaz is a great guy on a great team. I think you can't go wrong there. Second, Castillo, another midfielder from FC Dallas. He's just so fun to watch. He knows how to score goals. He knows how to get in. Hopefully, it just keeps getting better and better. And then third, Matt Hedges. He's expensive. I don't have him on my team because of that. He's a little out of my price range for the team that I have. I have more of a high-powered offense than a defense. But Hedges is a great option. Has a good shot at being the top defensive scoring person in MLS fantasy this year. So yeah, that's a good shot at the team. Hopefully you do well. If you pick any of these guys up, I hope they do great for you. If you pick up these guys and they do terrible and you pick them up because of me, I am so sorry. But it's fantasy. What can you do? All right, guys. Good luck.